The southern city of Dunedin is New Zealand's wildlife capital. It's home to creatures of the land, sea, and air. But in this changing world, our native creatures are in desperate trouble. Fortunately, there's help at hand. A network of wildlife rescue groups work together with passionate volunteers.
Sorry, mate.
And the new Wildlife Hospital they all rely on. All have a critical role to play.
The injuries they sustain are often really severe.
Rescuing.
This guy's been here a while.
Treating. And releasing wild animals.
I'm hoping he's going to go for a swim.
Any native animal that needs our care, we'll be there to help them.
While New Zealand's busy summer breeding period is finally finishing for wild animals up and down the country, things are still hectic at the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital. 2 critically endangered kakapo chicks have just arrived from the southern breeding islands in urgent need of treatment. And this is one of them, Queenie 3A.
This little chick, what a fighter. So 2 days old, gets stomped on in the nest by its big, clumsy mother and gets leg breaks and has endured sort of having splints to stabilize this fracture. She's just such a wriggle. We're going to need to towel her for the anesthetic because she's hard to keep still.
Queenie is just this little ball of energy of a chick, and despite having a broken leg, you wouldn't know by the behaviour that she's displaying.
The kakapo recovery field vets on Anchor Island splintered Queenie's leg as best they could. But without an X-ray, there's no way to be certain the bone is knitting together properly.
Put your little wings in there because they are just a menace. And so what we need to do today is just get a really good idea of what the fracture site is looking like and how straight the leg is, because we haven't yet had a X-ray done under anaesthesia just to assess the injury properly. So everything's looking nice and straight, like when you look at it.
Yeah.
Because the fracture's around here somewhere.
But an X-ray is the only way to be certain. Because if the bone is askew, Lisa will need to re-break the leg and set it again.
Yeah, it's cool, Jenny. You can wake her up. So the X-rays are perfect. I'm really happy with how that's healed. It means that the splinting has worked and she is just healed. Oh, hi. She's like, I need to wake up, but I heard there was food around.
Yeah, there's gonna be food.
There's gonna be food. It's all you care about, isn't it? That was a good recovery.
Thanks to the rapid response from the vets on the breeding island, Queenie's fracture has been set straight.
Yeah. It's not slowed her down at all, which is amazing. Isn't it, sweets?
Great news for Queenie. She'll be sent back to her mum's nest to continue her recovery in the wild. But Lisa still has a second kakapo chick to assess, and its diagnosis could be heart-stopping. In the aptly named seabird wing of the Wildlife Hospital, intern vet Lizzie deals with penguins every day. But now a completely different species is looking for her attention. This young Otago shag was discovered storm-wrecked on a local beach, and the odds are stacked heavily against him.
Took his bloods the day he came in, and his liver and kidney enzymes were awful. I think he was just starving and sort of probably on the brink of dying, to be honest.
Despite his near-death experience, this shag seems determined to defy the odds.
But yeah, he definitely has a little soft spot for him. He's cool. Have you ever had anyone speed eat so fast? You definitely win. His bloods are all normal now, which is awesome. We'll probably try and get a little bit more weight on him. And then swim him in the pool just to make sure that he's waterproof before we release him.
That almost sounds too easy. 20 kilometres across the Otago Harbour, at Penguin Place Rehabilitation Centre, a dozen juvenile hoiho are ready to be returned home to the Catlins region. These chicks had a tough start to life. They were brought into the Wildlife Hospital at just a few weeks old after changing sea conditions meant their parents couldn't catch enough fish to feed them.
Good night, guys.
Once they'd regained their health, they moved here to Penguin Place for ongoing care. Graduating to the pool pen was a milestone, but a region-wide outbreak of avian malaria jeopardised all of their lives. With summer finally over and the malaria threat dormant once more, these chicks are finally ready to return home to the big blue.
Today's actually my day off, so come in just to see these guys off and load them up.
You know, naturally they will have fledged by now. You know, this is the time where they go, normally.
Prepping penguins for release is easy as, so long as you follow a few basic rules. Step 1, find your bird. Annoyingly, they all look the same. Step 2, double check you've got the right one.
20322. Not on the list?
No. Damn it.
Okay.
Should have checked that first.
How about 328?
Yep, 328. Yep.
Step 3, remove the wing band.
We band them so we can keep records of them in here. They're easier to catch and easier to find, but these guys have got transponders in them. So once they go down to the Catlins, the bands have to be removed.
Step 4, weigh your bird. Make sure it's over 5 kilograms.
6.2.
Right, ready when you are.
Next, fill generously with rehydration solution.
So the fluids that we're giving it is like electrolytes and,
Just for travel.
yeah, just to make sure that they're nice and hydrated before a long journey.
And round off the process with some pre-medicated fish.
So they're getting a Malarone, the malaria treatment, before they go.
Crate up and repeat 10 times.
You know, this all, well, you can see the handling that, you know, it's not something you want to do on a regular basis because they get quite stressed over it.
Soon, these 11 chicks will be on their way back to the Catlins to rejoin their vulnerable colony.
So they've got a couple of hours drive and they have a soft release pen down there. So the Yellow-Eye Penguin Trust will take care of them from here, go down and feed them each day. To be honest, as soon as this is all done, I'm going to go home and probably go have a snooze.
While Megan's day off can finally begin, for the Yellow-Eyed Penguin Trust, the action's just starting. The situation for this species has never been more dire. Yellow-eyed penguins could be extinct on the mainland within 10 years if their rate of decline continues. Getting these chicks back into the wild is critical. At the Dunedin Botanic Garden, some different youngsters are also on the move.
Kia ora, guys. Today's the day. We're going to go out to Orokonui. So we'll get you packed up. We'll head out so you can see some real forest and bush. Cool. All right, let's do it.
Aviary curator Alicia has been looking after the 4 mischievous kaka chicks raised by the Wildlife Hospital.
Let's read. Oh, yeah, let's read. Okay, can we start breaking the scales, guys? So we just want to get a base weight for all of them, so Kelly's got something to refer to when they're out there. Everything is a game to kaka chicks. 50H.
The results of their much-anticipated DNA gender tests are in. 3 rascally boys, and green is the lone girl.
We'd like more females, but one's better than nothing. Who's that? It's green.
These 4 former hospital chicks have made friends with the rest of the kaka here. But what these youngsters need is some time in the great outdoors.
So it's 5:30. So as you can see, this is not ideal for wild birds. You can load up the van and we'll head out to Otakanui.
20 minutes out of town, Orokonui Eco Sanctuary has offered to be the stepping stone between the aviary and the wild. So the chicks can acclimatise to the sights and sounds of the forest from the safety of their own private enclosure.
Woken them up.
Yeah. There you go. First step.
The rest are having a good old look around, seeing what's chewable.
This is just another step in there. Has been quite a long journey since December when we got this particular 4 to getting them out to the wild. So it's actually just, yeah, it feels really cool. This will hopefully break that tameness a bit more and give them the best chance when they're released.
If these chicks settle into life outdoors, they might soon return to the place where they hatched. The spectacular forests of Abel Tasman National Park. But how will they cope with life in the real world? While the southern New Zealand summer is winding down, Dunedin's wildlife rescuers are still busy. And at a remote cottage on the Otago Peninsula, local nature lover Alistair Robinson keeps a close eye on the welfare of his animal neighbours.
A good day for me is just going down there and seeing everything in good order and just enjoying the environment. Well, I've been coming here since I was born, I think. It's beautiful, peaceful. Generally speaking, the environment's in pretty good order.
Alistair's heavily involved in the wild animal rescue scene and chairs the board at Orokonui Eco Sanctuary. On his days off, he acts as the eyes and ears for the Department of Conservation. All sorts of penguins are using this coastline for their annual molt. This is when they're most vulnerable, so Alistair is constantly monitoring cliffs and beaches to make sure none are in trouble.
Generally speaking, I just come down, keep an eye on all around the rocks here. That's where the penguins come in to molt. We've had Fiordland crested penguins, erect crested penguins, and even one royal penguin.
There are plenty of native fur seals, but these magnificent mammals are not what Alistair's looking for.
I've just had a look along here, along the rocks. No penguins molting. We'll now go back. Now the tide's starting to come in, it's going to get too rough. I'll have to go around a little bit, but we'll end up in a nice bit of quiet water over there.
Yellow-eyed penguins do prefer to molt in privacy, hidden in the scrub behind sand dunes. So Alistair's off to the other side of the inlet to search there too.
This whole area is under the control of the Yellow-eyed Penguin Trust. We used to have a lot of yellow-eyed penguins, but they are in trouble, and we're not quite sure why. At the moment, in this area here, we only have two nests, and I think only one of those is still viable. So the other one's failed. So that's pretty much the story of the yellow-eyed penguins all around the coast. The real problem out there, we're not quite sure why the yellow-eyed penguins are being lost. It could be something happening at sea, the way they're feeding. They are getting some disease. Some of the molting, sometimes when they're molting and haven't had enough to eat, they can become very emaciated and struggle. No, can't find them. We could walk all day in there and not see anything, unfortunately.
Alistair hopes no news is good news and the penguins are all fishing. His next target species won't be so hard to find, because usually they find him. 100 kilometres south, in the Catlins region, the yellow-eyed penguin trust rangers are arriving at the end of the line with ready-to-be-released birds. And the hardest job is still to come.
The 11 chicks we have here today are going to be going into the pens, and Ben and Sarah rehydrating them, getting them in the pens, and our job is really just to be cycling down the hill. We take a cage down with the penguin, you come back and get another one and go down.
Getting these precious chicks down to the coast takes a combination of brute strength and steady hands. But fortunately, there are plenty of volunteers willing to pitch in and help.
We're doing a soft release here. So a hard release is where you take a bird and just put it on the shore and let it go, which is fine for adults as they've been to sea before and they know what they're doing. But for the chicks, it's not very nice. So we do a soft release, which means they spend a bit of time in a cage just to get acclimatized to where they are, get used to being near the ocean again, that sort of stuff after being in rehab for so long. And then on Friday, we're going to open up the cage, and then hopefully they're going to go to sea.
So it's one of these things like in the real world, you'd hope you'd open the pens and they'd rush into the ocean and everything would be fine. Doesn't always work that way.
Case in point, a bunch of youngsters not ready to abandon their regular Meals on Wheels service.
We've got 6 yellow-eyed penguin chicks that were brought down over a week ago. So we had 12, 6 went to sea, and unfortunately the remaining 6, they didn't leave, they're hanging around. I think they maybe know a good deal when they see it, so they know they're going to get some food if they stay here, possibly.
Hopefully instinct will kick in, and these hangers-on will be gone by the time today's chicks are ready for release. The Trust have had their work cut out for them this summer, more than any other year.
Very, very challenging season, and we're hoping that this kind of intervention, intensive management, will actually help these penguins get through this kind of critical stage, and we can actually get these chicks back in the water, and they will be able to return as juveniles and join the breeding population.
There are less than 250 breeding pairs left on the mainland, and that number drops every year. The fate of the species rests on the fortunes of these soon-to-be-free youngsters. Back in Dunedin, the storm-wrecked shag is kicking back, when he really should be swimming.
He wasn't very waterproof when we got him, so we've been trying to encourage him to have a swim and have a preen, because once he's waterproof, he'll be ready to go.
The problem is, though, Mr. Shag hates water.
You ready? Ready?
Nope, not ready.
It's a tricky time when he doesn't want to go on the pool and you're really trying to encourage him to go out there and get wet and do those kind of normal preening behaviours.
Not a preen to be seen. Shags know when they're not oily enough and avoid aquatic activities until they're waterproof.
That was a very short swim, Poppet.
Mr. Shag can't stay scared of the water forever, though.
You pooped in my pool. I really like this guy. I'm looking forward to releasing him.
Inside, theatre's in session. The second of the 2 unwell kakapo chicks rushed in from the breeding islands is on the operating table. Her name? Tiferi 2A.
She's just been quite unwell for the past, I guess, week or so. She's about 46 days now. A chick at that age should be running around and really boisterous and really playful. She's really flat. She just sits there and just looks pretty miserable. It's time to actually do some more in-depth diagnostics.
Today's procedure starts with an ECG, or electrocardiogram. The same as humans get when a heart condition is suspected. The first thing Lisa notices is that Tiferi's heartbeat doesn't sound right. A special microphone, known as a Doppler, amplifies the sound of Tiferi's pulse. The irregular beating is a condition called arrhythmia and could have severe consequences.
It was quite good that we could pop the Doppler on her artery. It was just under her wing we popped it, and it just picked up the heart rhythm, and we were able to record what the arrhythmia sounds like and also how infrequent it is.
This condition could scupper any chance of Tiferi returning to the breeding islands.
It's actually a very mild arrhythmia, and it only happens very intermittently, so we would have periods of 2 or 3 minutes that would go by where it would just be normal rhythm in her heart. That's probably very good news for this bird. It indicates that it's a very mild arrhythmia and hopefully won't cause her any issues going forward in her life.
Despite her initial worries, Lisa's confident Tiferi will eventually be able to return to the wild. But her curiosity has been sparked.
No one really has any history of heart issues having occurred in kakapo, so it's a bit of new ground. What might be worth us doing is looking at doing some ECGs of some normal kakapo chicks, just so that we can actually get something to compare to and we can maybe make better decisions for them.
Tiferi 2A will need to stay under hospital observation for a little bit longer, but the epic success of the kakapo season has been a much-needed dose of good news. At a secluded inlet on the Otago Peninsula, wildlife rescue volunteer Alistair Robinson is keeping an eye out for animals in trouble. His search is about to take him right into the lion's den. Sea lions, that is.
These are sub-adult males that are spending most of their time either eating or playing, and they're quite inquisitive. They're interested in anything that's happening, so they'll always come around your boat and have a look. So you have to be just a little bit careful. They've got some pretty big teeth. Just saying, don't come in, you know, don't come any further. Generally speaking, the practice is you shouldn't get within about 10 metres of them. If you have a stick or a pointer, they'll never come past the end of it.
The sea lions are relatively new arrivals to Otago, slowly recolonising their ancestral territories.
Well, these ones, as you can see, are enjoying themselves. So over there you've got 3 males and one young female. That's the silvery one. Essentially, they're still an endangered animal. Probably 200 or 300 years ago, they were probably here, but they haven't been here since the sealers and whalers probably took most of them.
Keeping track of this fledgling population is crucial to their ongoing survival, and that's where volunteers like Alistair come in.
What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go up into the pine trees here and see if we can find, there's a pup that's been born up there. This year I think there's something like 13 pups born.
It sounds like Alistair isn't the only one searching for the pup.
Well, I think the pup is obviously going for a walk. The mum's trying to find it and isn't succeeding.
A missing pup is worth reporting to the Department of Conservation.
I just want to have a look and see what number is on the tag, because if the pup is missing, they probably want to know about it.
The female's tag number will help dock officers locate her. It'll also tell them which pup they should be looking for, if indeed the pup is missing.
It's not necessarily a problem. Pups tend to walk a long way.
Hopefully, Mum and Bub will find each other without human help. For Alistair, patrolling this area and the animals that live in it has been a lifelong commitment.
My father started coming here about the 1930s, and I've been coming here since I was born. My interest in the environment basically started because of this wonderful place here. And it's just a little piece of heaven, really.
On the edge of Dunedin City live Toroa, the northern royal albatross. With a wingspan of 3 metres, they're among the largest flying birds in the world. At the far end of the Otago Peninsula, there's a conservation program unlike anything else on Earth. Jim Watts is a Department of Conservation ranger who looks after the world's only mainland albatross colony.
And so we're out here, we monitor and we manage this population, and we do what we can to successfully fledge as many chicks as we possibly can. So that gets quite intense over the summer hatching period. With things warming up, our hatching time kind of coincides with heat waves and long dry spells, so heat is a big factor for us. So a bird sitting on the nest, a parent incubating an egg, it could be sitting on that nest for up to 20 days.
Couples mate for life and only produce 1 chick every 2 years.
Oh, hello. We know when the eggs are laid, and we're checking those eggs daily until they hatch. Your partner's just up top. Hatching is our highest risk period. That's when our biggest risk of fly strike is, and that's when a blowfly will lay their eggs on a hatching egg or a freshly hatched chick. The blowfly eggs will hatch into maggots, and those will start eating the hatching embryo or the chick.
It can take up to 6 days for a chick to escape from its egg, making them extremely vulnerable.
And so we're moving eggs into incubators on hot, dry days, and we'll keep it there during the day and return it should it cool down in the evening. We have a sprinkler system in place on the headland with a sprinkler at each nest, and this gives off a fine mist that just keeps that bird cool to reduce the chances of that bird abandoning the nest and going to sea. It's not too common to see both parents in at the same time, especially in the postguard stage, and it just so happens today that they're both in at the same time.
The greedy chicks consume up to 1 kilogram of fish at a time, but it can take each parent a week or more to catch this much food.
If a chick needs it, we can step in and supplementary feed. So we do a weekly weigh of these postguard chicks, and so we're tracking their weight, and we have some historical data, and so we know roughly about what weight a chick should be for its age. And if we feel it needs a top-up, we'll step in and give it a supplementary feed. 5-2.
The first pair settled here in 1920, but it took a further 18 years for them to successfully fledge a chick. Now, thanks to intensive management by rangers like Jim and the country's longest-running predator trapping program, these magnificent birds fledge chicks almost every year.
We've had the most eggs on record out here at Tyro Head, and that's definitely kept us busy. We've had warm, hot spells and a heat wave just as eggs were hatching. And so, yeah, it's really kept us on our feet, always moving.
Today, over 250 albatross call Dunedin home. And for Jim, that's a great thing.
I work for a great organisation, the Department of Conservation. I work in a great location out at Pukakura Tyro Head, and I work with a very unique species, being the northern albatross. So, yeah, I enjoy my days coming out to work.
At the bottom of New Zealand, in the regional city of Invercargill, aviary curator Alicia has taken time off work at the Botanic Garden and come all the way down here to chill out in a giant cool room. Who gets such special treatment on a hot day?
These guys are all good.
Kakapo, of course. These are the last of the chicks that were raised in Dunedin, now in the Department of Conservation's bespoke hand-rearing facility, where they can acclimate to the cold whilst awaiting their return to the wild. Alicia's no stranger to this species. She spent 5 years with the Kakapo recovery program and also helped out at the Wildlife Hospital.
So these are our 2 oldest chicks that we have here currently. So all of these chicks were in Dunedin at one point, so it's quite nice to be able to catch up with these guys again here in Invercargill.
Meet Nora 1A, just 46 days old.
She probably needs more of a boost with mum and she's smaller, eh?
So this chick potentially is one of two that we might send back to the island.
We're thinking she might be the better pick to send back to the island to go into a wild nest, just because she could use the bolster of mum feeding.
It's been a bumper breeding season for this critically endangered species, with 86 chicks hatched. The success is unprecedented. And the sooner these fluff balls can be fostered into a real kakapo nest, the better.
Sad to see them go, but it's really exciting to know that actually this is the best thing for them.
If all this year's chicks survive, they'll boost the kakapo population to over 200 birds. Still dangerously small, but a massive milestone for this critically endangered species. The breeding success is testament to the tireless work of countless kakapo recovery staff and volunteers, and many long hours at the Wildlife Hospital. Speaking of the Wildlife Hospital, back in Dunedin, it's time to see whether Mr. Shag has gotten over his fear of water.
Hey, Mr. Shag.
He's looking good, but how about his swimming progress?
He's doing well, so he's finally figured out that the water isn't going to hurt him. It's important for us to keep swimming him just to maintain his waterproofing. It just helps encourage them to start preening. Yeah, and he started preening yesterday morning, and then yesterday afternoon I actually caught him doing these beautiful long dives underneath the water. Ah, look at that.
Shags are superb underwater hunters, and it's essential that this one practices what should come naturally. The head dip, the wing splash, and the duck dive. Looks like he's back in the ring.
You know, it was really encouraging to see. That's when we were like, okay, you're almost ready.
A few days later, and Lizzie's bringing Mr. Shag to a beach near the local shag colony.
You can tell after a while that they're ready to leave. It is really nice to be able to get them to that point and pull them through. I really look forward to releasing them. That's what gives me the most satisfaction. I'm hoping he's going to go for a swim. We'll see. It's nice to see him out there. I've been looking forward to this. It's really cool. Oh, he's probably just sussing out his surroundings, I reckon. He's looking interested. That's what I wanted, to see him swim off. Perfect. Took him a little minute to suss out his surroundings, but that's cool. See him swimming away. Yeah. I really didn't think he was going to make it when he came in. We thought we'll give him a chance, and then, yeah, to see him swim off like that is, yeah, makes it worthwhile, definitely.
At the top of the South Island, Abel Tasman National Park is famed for its golden beaches, crystal waters, and thick native forest. The Department of Conservation and Project Yansoon have been working together in this refuge to eliminate mammalian predators and bring back the birdsong, including the raucous call of the kaka.
So as part of the group coming up today, we have 4 birds that were cared for at Dunedin Wildlife Hospital and then spent some time flocked in an aviary at Dunedin Botanical Gardens. And so they've come up with another group of birds from Willowbank in Christchurch, and they comprise the group that's going in the aviary this afternoon. And they've just come up by plane this morning and now a boat trip. So they're going into the aviary this afternoon, and they will settle in for the night. They'll sort of just learn that this is home before they'll be released.
Great experience to be able to carry a kaka.
Green and her brothers will spend 10 days in this temporary aviary. It's the same soft release process the penguin chicks and the catlins are experiencing.
Before the birds are released, we want to put on radio transmitters so that when they're out in the bush, we can follow them. They have a technology that allows them to turn on in the morning and turn off in the evening to save battery life, which means we can actually track these birds for 4 years. And so when they're old enough, the females particularly are old enough for breeding, we'll still be able to follow them. And that we'll be able to gauge how successful they are in terms of reproducing and growing the population.
Soon, the Wildlife Hospital's favourite young kaka will be free birds. But what will they make of this strange new wilderness? Early morning at the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital. And already there's pandemonium in the penguin ward. The hospital has been inundated with yellow-eyed penguins. Again. It's the second wave of the penguin tsunami. This time, it's not so much starvation. For the second time this season, these birds are coming in covered in bites from predatory barracuda fish. Lizzie and Emily have to power through the treatment rounds. First up, an angry little snares-crested penguin who needs his bandages changed. He shows his displeasure in a way only a penguin can.
Yeah. Oh!
With a well-aimed poop.
Watch the poop. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the firing line.
You are. And I'm the handler.
Thank you.
Okay, pop it back in your cage to Joe out.
Next up, a patient they've nicknamed Papa Nui the Pooper.
Hey, Papa Nui.
He's a sharp shooter with a healthy appetite and very precise aim.
Just rip this down. Hey. Yeah.
I might as well go home now.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, you were my favourite penguin. There you go. Oh, man. That well and truly makes up for so much. Fish slurry on me, fluids on me.
Oh, my giddy aunt.
That's the thanks you get. I love him.
While the girls deal with this late influx, down in the Catlins, Department of Conservation Rangers Cheryl and Moana have arrived at the penguin release site. Before they approach the pens, they want to see whether the hangers-on from last week's release are still hanging on.
There's definitely 2 millennials outside the pen. We've nicknamed them the millennials because they won't leave home and they just keep getting free food every morning. So the ones in the soft release pens are the ones that we're going to be opening the cages on this morning, and hopefully they'll move out, fingers crossed. Otherwise we'll end up with a lot of millennials.
Down on the coast, the signs are promising. The chicks in the pens are eager to leave.
That one wants to go.
The millennials, though,
Hey?
not so much.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all still here. I think we've got some more food for you. Oh, they're hopeless, aren't they?
If these guys don't leave soon, Cheryl is going to have to cut off the free handouts. The plan for today's release is simple. Use the gates to direct the chicks towards an easy path down to the water.
Come on, somebody be brave.
But these landlubbers are reluctant to leave the luxuries behind.
Yeah, no wonder they're not going.
So once again, they didn't use the easy track.
Penguin chicks are a bit like sheep, flocking together and following the leader. Or in this case, following the millennials.
As you can see, I mean, there's one going that way and they're all starting to go that way now. Oh no, they're all coming back up.
Oh no, here they come again.
They'll get there in their own sweet time. But to see 17 yellow-eyed penguin chicks together in the wild is a vanishingly rare sight, especially after the start to life these ones had.
We're pretty certain they would have died. They would have all starved to death. And the parents that were trying to feed them would have been under incredible stress this time of year as well, because they'll be gearing up to get into the molt. And so if they were still trying to feed these chicks, the parents' health would go downhill big time too. So it's really good to see that these birds have done so well in rehab, obviously fit and healthy now, and we know that the parents are out looking after themselves. So hopefully we can get the breeding birds through as well, just by looking after the chicks. You know, how many of these survive until being a juvenile or going on to breed, we don't know, but we've given them every chance, and that's makes us feel pretty good, eh?
Yeah, yeah. If only they'd...
They'd hurry up and go. But, I mean, they'll go when they're ready. It's just nature.
The chicks could mill around all day, or all week if they keep following the millennials. But they've been helped through their most vulnerable time in life. And what they do next is up to them. In Abel Tasman National Park, the big day has finally arrived for the 4 young kaka raised from tiny chicks at the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital.
Could be a very interesting day. It always is with releases. Everyone's always like, do you feel sad when you let them go? And I'm like, hell no, it's an awesome feeling to see them flying out and like leaving the nest. It's great.
These rascals get one last supper.
Food is sort of attached to trees. Kind of trying to make it as natural as possible. There is a lot of different personalities in here because they've come from different places. For instance, little Yellow up there, she is quite friendly, but which they shouldn't be. She is obviously quite low on the pecking order because she waits till everyone's eaten before she comes down to eat. Just to have them squawking and screaming and whistling through the Abel Tasman's going to be fantastic.
People have come from all over to join local iwi in welcoming their new neighbours.
A day like today is a day that I work for every day. What I enjoy is looking up into the tree and seeing a bird where it's supposed to be in the wild. Each bird left on their own terms, which was really nice to see. So the brave ones and the curious ones were out first. But it is really nice to see, actually, as they're out of the aviary too, that you still see their personalities when they're out, even though they're now becoming wild.
Now a whole new world awaits them, where they can explore, soar, and learn from wild adult kaka in the forest where they belong.
It makes me feel so proud. I love the fact that I'm helping a wild population, doing my part to repopulate this earth with the species that should live here.
Today's success is a testament to all those passionate wildlife carers who have given so much of their energy to this groundbreaking endeavour. For Abel Tasman's charismatic kaka, the future is wide open. It's been a monumental first summer of full operation for the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital. But as autumn approaches, staff are finally getting a bit of respite. Penguin season is officially over.
All those little penguin chicks that were sort of really, really needing attention, that was just unprecedented to have, you know, over 30 penguins in hospital, and just the huge number of patients that we've seen. And it's just insane to think what we have done and achieved.
New Zealand's wildlife faces an uncertain future. The mainland yellow-eyed penguins are on the edge of extinction. And they're not the only species in dire straits. This year has been a season marked by tragedy, but also one of much-needed hope. Thanks to the new Wildlife Hospital and the network of rescuers, so many endangered animals have been saved.
It's not just the hospital, we've got all the guys that do the rehabbing for us. You know, our patients may stay with us for 3 or 4 weeks, but they often go to rehab and they put in a lot of time and effort to take them to the next stage, to the point that they're releasable.
It's very special working with what we get to work with, very, very special.
It can be really hard and it can be really devastating, but to see those birds get back into the wild, nothing beats that feeling. Cool.
Despite all the challenges, New Zealand's wildlife rescuers are standing strong, ready to do it all again next year.
Thanks, New Zealand On Air.